How's it going, everyone? We're here to check out the skins that have a potential to make it in this week. If you're new, that doesn't mean all these 100-ish skins will make it in, obviously, but 8 to 10 are chosen every week by the game's lead developer, Helk. And yeah, there you have it. So we'll start off with some clothing, and we've got a version 2 of the Burlap Blackout, and it kind of has this like kind of gilly fabric over the top. At first, from a distance, it kind of looks like some kind of fancy design, but once you get closer, you see, oh, it's kind of like a camo mesh kind of thing going. It's definitely an interesting new design. How do you guys feel about version 2? Next, we have a silly little sunflower hat for you here, and this one just stares back at you screaming. This is the sunflower boonie hat. And there it has like a little face and everything. It just has a real goofiness to it. And of course, you've got the sunflower petals all around the rim of the hat. Next, we have a new kind of camo-y poncho for you with the Swamp Poncho by Le Crempe. And as you can see here, you've got kind of vines and roots going on, and you've got some ivy in between there with the vines. And I think those are snails. I'm not entirely sure. You got a little centipede going on. Definitely a very cool poncho. Next up, we got some hoodies and pants, and the first one up is the Polar Hoodie. So yeah, this set is definitely a pretty cool looking one. As you can see, it's got the snow camo in for the gold there. It's got some pads as well. But definitely another nice kind of little snow gear. But who knows? You know, we've got a lot of different ones. Will more pop in? That's always the question. Next, we've got a joke pair for you. If you ever want to look like bread in rust, it's some delicious looking bread. Look at that. It looks all toasty and crispy and ready to go for some butter and whatever else you may put on it. But yeah, maybe this one will pop in and people can butter your buns right in rust. Next, we've got a continuation for the concentric set with the hoodie and pants. So it has the same kind of design with the cracks with the white kind of silver coming through. Definitely a nice continuation in the set. The various patterns going on. And the separations kind of, yeah, it makes it a little more unique, you know. Next up, we've got the hoodie and pants Nana back for version 2, and they've kind of been cleaned up. The outside of the hoodie and pants are pretty much just banana shell, and then you've got the undershirt, which is the actual kind of like banana meat, so to say. You got a little bit kind of poking through here and there, but just only on the sides and so forth, and the rest just kind of looks like a nice little ripe banana. This has definitely been a well-selling set. I know some people are really tired of it, and some people just love it, so hey, this could be one that pops in this week. Next, we have some boots for you, and they're version 2 of the HQM boots, and they completely changed it up. They don't really look like steel toes anymore. They just look like these kind of like higher tech armored boots. And I definitely like the look of it. The zipper down the front definitely makes them look like they're easy and ready to jump right into. And it's just a much more unique look from a lot of the other boot skins that we've seen. Next, we've got some military boots for you, and these are versions 3, and these have been also changed quite a bit. Tons of new details to the high poly, and you've got this nice breathable mesh underneath, and then you've got the straps with like armor plating and so forth. These do have a very, very armored toe to them. I can't even call it steel toe because it looks way more armored than that. But definitely a very nice detailed upgrade to these for sure. Next up, we've got the Arctic Protection Riot Helmet, and I think this area is supposed to be more opaque where you can kind of see through, but I kind of like the fact that it's like glitched out right now that way. Or I don't know, maybe that is the way it's meant to be. There aren't any in-game screenshots, which there should be, because that is a requirement of skins to get accepted. Hint, hint, if you're watching the video, Skin Creator. But yeah, definitely a very different look to the Arctic Riot Helmet. Next, we've got some cheesy armor for you with the road sign set here of the cheese set. And yeah, it's got a cheese grater on the front of the coffee can helmet, I think, which is definitely funny. And then the rest of it just kind of looks like old drippy cheese. And yeah, that's what they're kind of going for. So hey, if you ever want some Swiss cheesy looking armor, this might be the set for you. Next up, we've got a continuation in the Redemption set with the road sign armor. And yeah, I definitely love the way this looks. As you can see, the chest is cut differently a little bit on each side. There's kind of like a shorter look with the straps. And I think that all just looks really cool together. I love the different panels they've done, and it just really fits the set nicely. You've got this kind of like breathing grill up in the front, with just fits right in as well. Definitely a very shiny and well done set. Next, we've got some high qual sets. The first one here is the Soulless Legion by Mr. Verona, and as you can see right here, it's got a very nice kind of cutout, kind of a Death Lord kind of thing going on. Continues up and along the back of the helmet to another set of kind of like horn looking things, which I think is cool. In the back, you have the same kind of like pinched horn pattern going on. Some more gold details. And these almost look like legs around like an insect torso or something. Definitely has that kind of like insecty kind of legs going on kind of thing. So maybe that's what they're all meant to be. I don't know. Definitely a cool design. Alright, and next, but wow, is the Good Boy version 2. And so we know the Good Boy is been kind of funny set, and it's been a little bit on the risque side. Now, see here, this is the weird thing. Since it's a chest piece, they went ahead and put the tail and the butt like up here. So technically the stomach is like where it should be, but the way they did it, the stomach still kind of looks like a penis. And they got rid of the censored bit. I don't think this has a chance. Maybe if they actually stretch the stomach to be up over where this, chest, all the way up to the chest, because, nipples kind of start in the chest and then go all the way down the stomach of a dog. They don't start at their groin. So, yeah. I mean, I guess they can kind of almost extend that far. But you know what I'm saying? It still very much so looks like a dick. So I don't think this one really has a chance. Alright, we can move on to our deployables now. Starting off, we've got the Lullaby sleeping bag, which is, of course, a continuation of the Lullaby set. And it has kind of like the green scratch, kind of ancient feel thing going on with it. Then over here, we've got a continuation into what may be the set for the Moon set. We've got our second piece here with the Moon sleeping bag. There's a glowing and a non-glowing version as well. Then over here, we've got a small little box for you that is basically all set up with some C4. It's the C4 wooden storage, and the whole thing looks like it is strapped with C4. Definitely a nice little box for storing such things, if it were to make it in. Then over here, we've got a little Brutalist themed box here. It has some nice armored kind of, what do you say? I'm really forgetting here, the outside of the box. Rim around the outside of the box, there we go. And it has a little bit of a glow to it as well, which we'll show you shortly. Then over here, we've got a very cool looking box with the Gear large wooden box. This also has a glow and a non-glow version. It just has all these crazy gears, lots and lots of work into making it just really not look flat and just pop up and look really nice. And then over here we've got another box for you in the electric storage set with the components box. And then over here we've got a more kind of rugged kind of spirit kind of box with the sealed agony storage box. Definitely looks like those are the kind of runes you don't want to mess with. Moving along, we've got some furnaces. The first one up here is this beautiful birch furnace. It's a kind of like a birch stump overgrown with a bunch of moss, and it just has a very beautiful natural look, which I think a lot of people would like. Next over here, we've got this really crazy, glitzy, beautiful kind of gem furnace with the crystal hollow furnace. And it comes in two different versions. There's this purpley one, and then there's also kind of like an aquamarine green kind of one going on. If you want to check that out, I always have it down in the description with the workshop link. Then over here, we've got a chicken furnace for you. The whole thing kind of looks like a fried chicken leg, and this one was a little bit border. The crispness around the outside and the bone sticking out looks a little bit funky, but I mean, altogether, it's kind of like a joke furnace. So those kind of have a little more lax on them. So there you have that. Then over here, we've got this one, which is just scary. It's called the Face Punch. And it's, yep, it is what it is. And you can see they got punched in the face for sure. But these furnaces that are faces just always creep me out. I don't know. How do you guys feel about face furnaces? Next over here, we've got a locker, and it is the version 2 of the very popular Constellations locker. I believe it's a version 2. Or maybe this is the only version. I think I'm thinking of Outer Planets, which has a version 2 already. So no, this is just plainly the Constellations locker. So there you have it. Then we've got another rug for you this week, and this one looks like a big old panel of sheet metal that you could decorate up your base with the metal plate rug. Then we've got a couple of vending machines. The first one here is the Adobe vending machine. Definitely fits so beautifully with the Adobe. We go ahead and take a look at the back. There is indeed a light, which is always a positive. Then over here we've got the Brutalist vending machine. Take a look at the back there, since we're here. And pop around the front. Moving along, we've got a single wooden door for you this week, and this one is the castle door by Jessen. So it has a kind of like 8-bit castle thing going on. We go ahead and pop through the back, take a look at that. Moving along, we've got quite a few other doors. The first one here is going to be another version 2 for you. It is the shooting range door, Glow version 2. Then we have a kind of more high-tech looking door here, and this is the Space Hatch sheet metal door. And if you look outside, it actually has kind of like planets and stuff. And yeah, it might be a little too kind of like future techy for us, but I think it's a really cool design door. Next over here, we've got some Hellhounds and such with the Souls of the Dead version 2 sheet metal door. Definitely been cleaned up quite a bit. I think the colors scheme is a little bit better, and yeah, altogether it just pops. It looks a lot less flat, which I think is always a huge improvement with skins. Moving along, we've got a very kind of, I'd say, mystical feeling door. I don't know, that's kind of the vibe it gives me. It's the Purple Knight door by Lodi. Then we've got a little neon door, and it is the Great Art Gun Shop door. So yeah, you can have a little door for your vending machine shop, and specifically it has a nice little gun theme with some neon and so forth. Then we've got this kind of complicated, almost armory looking door with the black and white metal door. And our last sheet metal single door is definitely a goofy one. This one is simply called Cavo. So there you go. That's it. Then we've got a single double sheet metal door for you guys this week. This one here is the panel trim sheet metal door by Ice Mill. Moving on to our garage doors, we've got this beautiful wooden paneled door with the fine riveted garage door by Celtra. Then we've got some really beautiful art over here. It's like angels versus hell or something kind of going on. This is the Judgment Day garage door by Chillig. Moving on, we've got a continuation in the Punk Jack set by Alloy with the Punk Jack garage door. We have the sheet metal door did get accepted, so maybe we'll see his hands with the garage door as well. Moving on, we've got the Sweet Bass, Home Sweet Bass. Gotta love that. Bass Sweet Bass garage door. And I definitely kind of like the roller to it. Just has kind of a very industrial feel that goes with the rest of the design quite well. Then over here we have a all scrapped together little helicopter attack heli garage door, all made from parts that look like they were taken from an actual attack heli in game. Moving along, we do have a single armored door for you this week. It's the Magic Shield armored door. Has two different versions. This one is the version 2. You can check out version 1 as well if you want in the description. And then we have a double armor door for you, which is of course the Brutalist themed one. Definitely rusty and just one of those things that just really fits Rust. If you want to get that bunker vibe going on, this would be the perfect door for that, of course. But let's go ahead and kill our lights and start taking a look at the glow. Definitely a lot of pop. Look at that one. Really crazy. Got a little bit of drip on that double door. A little toxic, leakage here and there. Then we have that shop door. Little purple door. Nice little spotlight on the target. Vending machine. This one doesn't really have anything going on, but we do have the lights on the Adobe one, which we can check out here. And then we've got the locker. And with our furnaces, they pretty much all just have the standard front furnace glow. Nothing fancy going on with the backs of them. Then we can move on to our boxes here. We got our little small box, mostly just the glow there on the top. And then there's the glow on the sleeping bag. And a little bit of glow on the lullaby bag there. All right, let's move on to our tools. And first up, we've got a couple of rocks for you. The first one here is this very shiny copper ore rock. Definitely has a nice glitz to it. And I'm sorry, it's not copper, it's cuprum, I guess, is what they're specifically calling it. Next over here, we've got a tomato rock for you, and it still looks like it's moist, freshly washed in the sink. But probably wouldn't bite into this tomato yourself if I were you. Next, we've got one last rock, and it is a squirrel rock. And yeah, this one just, it looks all smooth and friendly, but man, that eye is so judgmental. I mean, look, watch. You're like, pat, 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 and it's like, whatever, man. I'm still judging you about that entire family you slaughtered. Just for that pumpkin seed. Moving on, we've got a combat knife for you. And of course, it should look familiar as it is part of the El Diablo set. Definitely a nice addition to that. We don't see too many combat knives and melee weapons come through too often, so it's always cool to see a nice design. Like the rest of the El Diablo set, it does look like it might be glowy, but it's not, so it won't give you away. Next, we've got some bows, and the first bow up here has a nice kind of natural look to it. Looks like it's kind of pieced together by found things and here and there, made camo, you know, by yourself, so forth. It is the scrim-wrapped hunting bow. Next, we've got another bow for you, and this one is a scrap metal bow, and as you can see, it's got some mesh through it. As you look, it's basically just kind of all scrapped together pieces of metal, and it actually looks like the same color as metal fragments in the game, which is a nice little detail. Next, we have some pistols for you, and the first one up here is a bone Ioka. The whole thing kind of looks like it's made out of someone's spine or something like that. Definitely one of those things that fits right into Rust. Then we've got another more silly Ioka for you. This one is the zebra Ioka, and yep, the actual barrel is painted up to look like a little zebra head, ears and all, even the nose at the tip, and the rest has some nice zebra stripes going on. Next, we've got some Revies. The first one's going to be pretty familiar, as it is the comics revolver version 2. So it looks like the creator is going for another jump here with it. Aiming down the sights here, you've got a kind of little faint black tip, and of course that click-clack on the side. Next, we've got some pythons. The first one here should also look familiar, as it is part of another popular set, the pirate set. So of course you've got the kind of stretched map all over it. You can see the kind of fabric with the bones and the old map markers. Aiming down the sights, you've got a nice red tip and a big old metal X to mark the spot there. Go ahead and pop a reload. Next, we have another python for you, and this one has some dragon scales going on and some dark messages for you. This is the snake bite python. Aiming down the sights here, you've got a nice red sight against the silver. And there's that reload. Next up, we've got a fiery python for you here. This has an old-fashioned kind of hot rod look to it. This is the Python Blazing. Even looks like it has kind of like a fake ivory grip. Aiming down the sights there, you've got a nice red tip to it and a little skull. And there's that reload. Next, we've got a sap for you, and this one's got a Crocogator all over the side of it, and it's, well, the Sapodile. There you go, man. Sapodile, Crocogator, we'll get it some way or another. One way or another, it definitely has some cool, fun art on the side of it. Aiming down the sights, there's kind of like a nice little red cracking going through, and then you've got these kind of, it almost looks bronze, but if you hit the right light, you can tell it's actually a red color to the sights there. Next, we've got a custom for you, and this one is all done up to look like it has radar all over it. So yeah, there you go. You've got this little coil and various gauges. You've got a fuel gauge on there from the heli, and then you've got the little radar in the back. Does look like the sights are pretty much just normal, but you do have a bit of a glint there, so maybe they made a slightly different silver. I'm not entirely sure if that's just the light playing with my eyes there. But there's that reload. Then we've got some MP5s for you. The first one here, as you can see, has this cool kind of faded look. It almost looks like it was 3D printed or something like that. And yeah, I think that's just kind of a unique look to it. This one is called the Peace Breaker. Aiming down the sights here, you've got a black tip, but it turns almost kind of brown depending how light hits it. And that goes up against the gray and the faded red there. Next, we've got another MP5 for you, and this one is way more on the color spectrum. This is the Neon MP5 version 2, and you can definitely see it's been cleaned up a lot. The lines kind of have a more of a popping effect up against the kind of flat background. Aiming on the sights, you have a nice red sight, and then you just really have this kind of like hollow effect of the colors. That's it's not shiny, but it's still kind of it pools almost neon in a way, and I think that's a pretty cool little color design there. Next, we've got a SAR for you, and this is a continuation with the Starry Dream set by Sun Art. So we did see the AK pop in, so we might actually see this SAR make its way into the shop this week. We'll just have to see. For the sights, it's pretty much just black on that dark blue, so it pretty much just isn't too much of a distinction there. Almost wish they used kind of the yellow from the stars or something like that for the sights. Next, we've got another SAR for you, and this one is absolutely awesome. It just really looks cobbled together and like they're making their own kind of camo with this. This is the Desert Shrub semi-auto rifle. And it also comes in a winter version. If you want to see that, you can check it out in my link down in the description below. And then it has pretty much just normal iron sights, though. Next, we have another SAR for you, and it is a continuation with the Panther set. This set did pretty good, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this one pop in. It seems like people kind of like that Damascus steel with the nice purple hues with the faint golds. It's definitely a very nice vibe. Aiming down the sights, you've got a black tip against the gold and purple. Moving on, we've got one last SAR for you, and this one, it looks like it's made out of cookies and cookie dough, and it actually really does look like cookie dough. A lot of times when people do food or treat things as a joke, they're overly glossy and it just doesn't quite look real. And this is actually really looks like someone may have like put dough all over their gun. Don't know why they would, but it actually, you know, it looks like it. Aiming down the sights here, you've got a nice chocolate tip to the side there. Moving on, we actually have one more SAR. I forgot. I thought cookie dough was last, but we do have one more, and this one is the petrified SAR, and the whole thing just looks like petrified stone. So hey, that was the kind of idea going on there, and it has like various kind of things, like it looks like a little hatch there on the top. Kind of gives a bunker vibe, which I think they're going with kind of for the Brutalist vibe, which is cool. Do wish maybe the sights had some different colors, but it is a cut sight. That is something to very much so pay attention to on there. Next up, we have an AK for you, and this one is all sorts of glossy and clean. This is the Airsoft AK-47. So yeah, it's meant to kind of look like a toy gun, but man, this just looks really, really cool. Aiming down the sights here, you've got that red tip, of course, that Airsoft has to have, and a white and black for the rest of the back part of the sight. And there you go for the reload. Also, you'll see where the stock's cut off, there's kind of like a little airsoft target, which I thought was a nice touch, and you can see like a battery tab down there by the trigger. Next, we've got some more AKs, and this one here has a very colorful kind of design. This is the Doodle Colorful AK. And yeah, it kind of has more of like a tiles. It's so hard to come up with names, I'd say, but Doodle Colorful. Well, you know, there's that. Aiming down the back, I wish there was maybe some more of that color there, but we do have a nice red tip for the sight. And there we go for our reload. We've got one last AK for you here, and this one has a cool theme going on. It is the Red Eye AK-47. And yeah, it's got this crazy like acid breathing like Jaguar or something, Black Panther on the side. Definitely crazy. Has a very nice sleek design. Aiming down the sights here, you've got this kind of like a neon green kind of sight against the red, and a big old error going on kind of like a LED there. Next, we've got a couple of satchels to end up our video here, and the first one is kind of like a skull popping through a wall or tearing through flesh with a big old TNT in its mouth. This is the Sociopathy satchel. Then we've got another one for you with the Running Man satchel TNT. The whole thing looks like an old school ad, definitely really funny. Got that kind of cardboard box and fireworks thing going on. And then, last but not least, the Capybara satchel. This has been a very funny joke set that everyone seems to just absolutely love. I mean, just look at that face. How can you not, right? I mean, it's judging you, but it's hilarious, and just everything's fuzzy. So, there it is, everyone. That does it for this week. Sound off down in the comment section below which ones you're looking forward to and why. And next week there won't be a video because we're having the Halloween contest, so just keep that in mind. There'll be a video on that following Thursday, of course, to show you which Halloween skins made it in and such. So look forward to that. I'm always excited for the holidays. I bet you guys are too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Stay rusty.